Instead of seeing discipline through the lens of punishment, I want you to see discipline through the lens of correction to help you keep going in the right direction. Yo, welcome back to Practice the Podcast, where we fuse research and culture to help you develop the mindsets, the habits, the skills that you need in order to live out your purpose with confidence. I'm your coach, Dr. Rees. And of course, if you're watching the video, you can see we're back in the car. So this is a CarCast edition. I'm excited to have this conversation with you because this conversation that we're going to talk about today, these mindsets, these habits, these skills that I want to give to you is something I think that has the ability to change your life. Really, everything that I talk about, I think has the ability to change your life. But today, I want to come from a different perspective, hopefully, with a little deeper story. We're talking about discipline and accountability. And these are two words that will probably always be something that we talk about here at Practice. Why? Because without discipline and accountability, we don't grow. Without discipline and accountability, we can't become confident. Like literally, you will not be able to maximize your confidence or reach confidence or cement your confidence without discipline and without accountability. But I don't necessarily want to talk. I'm going to let the spirit flow. I don't want to talk about it a certain way because I have some thoughts on my heart and some ideas in my mind of the direction that I want to go. But I also want to make sure that the conversation is light as possible, but also something that we can feel like I'm going to pick up this game, I'm going to apply it to my life, and I'm going to get better. And so I want to start us off with a story. I was talking to one of my youth and while I was teaching class. So I was teaching class and we were talking about habits and values. And the way that I like to situate this conversation when it comes to habits and values is I see habits as things that are withdrawals from our life, right? Because we teach that you are the bag. So if you believe that you are the bag, anytime that you have a habit that is destructive, anytime you have a habit that doesn't add value, anytime you have a habit that is unhealthy or toxic or anything like that, it is a withdrawal from your bag, which is you. It is a withdrawal from your life. Now, anytime you have a habit that adds value, that is healthy, that increases, right? Anything that's increasing, it is an investment. And so not all investments are good investments. We know that, but we're structuring this in a way that people can see that we want to make investments and we want to have an understanding of ROI. What is the return on my investment? So we want to be very clear and concise and intentional on what are the habits that I am developing, what are the habits that I've picked up on, what are the habits that I got from somebody else that I have in my life. And the reason why I'm talking about habits and values in the same conversation of talking about discipline and accountability is because they go hand in hand. And so in this class that I'm teaching, again, the framework is you are the bag. And this specific class was talking about habits and values. And one of the students, he says something about so we're talking about class. So I have them break down two different habits that they want to get rid of that are withdrawals, and two different habits that they want to start investing in more to add to their bag in their life, in their education, and when it comes to their money. Now, to be familiar with almost anything that has to do with folks and especially youth that are incarcerated, everything goes back to money. Because it goes back to money. The root of it, more times than not, is about money. Like they didn't have it. They were trying to get it. They were a part of a gang. So it ended up being somebody hit a lick. They were robbing somebody. Anything like that. It always goes back to money. So money is a really, 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 really big deal to these youth. It's a big deal to everybody, but specifically these youth because of what they see and what they want to have, which again is no different from us as adults, right? Even this young man in particular has a tattoo on the right side of his lobe. And it's so funny because a lot of them have the same tattoo on their head, which means like they have money on their mind. And so we're talking about education and I'm asking them, what is one of the things that you feel like is a habit that you have that is not helping you grow and get closer to being more educated or graduating? And he says, talking too much in class. And I'm like, I feel you. I was a class clown. Like, that is exactly, like, I get it. And I tell him, like, man, you can't play it. Like, I'm a class clown as well. Like, I know all the tricks. I know all of it too. Like, don't think just because you see me standing up here teaching this class that I was not you. Like, I'm teaching this class because I was once you. I was once the class clown who didn't pay attention, who was always cracking jokes, who was always being funny, who was talking too much and disrupting the teacher. Like, that was me as the student. And so I'm like, okay, so what is something you feel like you want to be able to do? And he was like, well, I guess pay attention more. Cool. That's an easy fix. And again, these are youth. He's 14, 15 years old. So then that's the habit. So then we move on to values. And now he has his habit set. We move on to values. And one of the things he tells me he values is discipline, empathy, and something else. And I was like, yo, the whole point of this exercise is so that way people can see that there's alignment in everything. We talk about habits and values at the same time, so that way you can recognize, okay, if I value this, how can I use my values to help influence my habits? Or if these are my habits, how can I help my habits or have my habits help influence my values, and vice versa? So he says he values discipline. And I go, yo, don't you think that's now something that you can use to help you in class with not being, with not being a class clown and interrupting and speaking and different things like that? And he was like, what do you mean? Like, he was confused. Like, when I said discipline, he didn't understand how I meant it. And so he goes, I discipline people. And I was like, I said, then shouldn't you discipline yourself if you have the ability to discipline people? And he said, no, I don't discipline me like I discipline others. And I said, oh, you're seeing discipline through the lens of punishment. You're seeing discipline through the lens of like repercussion. Like, you're seeing discipline through the lens of violence and making people pay. And he's not wrong. I was seeing discipline through the lens of a value add. I was seeing discipline through the lens of something that can make us become better in life. I was seeing discipline through the lens of, if you say you want to be less of a class clown and you want to pay attention more, or not even less of a class clown, but you want to pay attention more and you want to be able to learn, then you can use your discipline to help you finish your homework. You can use your discipline to help you pay attention. You can use your discipline to not talk back to other students that may be drawing in your attention. That's the lens I was seeing discipline through, but he was seeing discipline through the lens of punishment. So I told him, I said, instead of seeing discipline through the lens of punishment, I want you to see discipline through the lens of correction to help you keep going in the right direction. He was like, it's like he had never thought about discipline in a positive way, even though he said he values it. Now remember, and I tell you where this youth is located based off of the environment, because our environment shapes how we see things. Our environment dictates our thought process. It influences our thought process often, especially when we're young. Like, when we're kids, what we see, this is why they say, having examples and vicarious, like all the things that we always talk about, like this, it always goes back to this. His environment shaped his reality of what he believes discipline to be as something that's only negative. And he's not wrong. That's just one part. That's just one aspect of discipline. So when I told him, I don't want you to see discipline through that lens. I want you to see discipline through the lens of correction in the right direction. So that's my challenge to you is, do you only see discipline as a negative thing? Or do you see discipline as something that could add value to you? Do you see discipline as something that only happens in times of destruction? Or do you see discipline as something that can help you become the person you were created to be? And the reason why it's important for us to understand how we see this thing is because how we see anything dictates how we feel about it, which dictates how we interact with it, which then dictates our actions and our behaviors. So if I see discipline only as something that is harmful and is for punishment, then I never see it as something that I need to submit to. Say that again. If I only see discipline as something that is an enforcer, something that is destructive, something that is a form of punishment, I'm never going to submit to discipline. And I will be the first one to tell you right here, right now, that I need to do a better job of submitting to discipline. I just do. As your coach, I'm telling you, I need to do a better job of submitting to discipline. And I'm using the word submit intentionally. The reason why I'm using the word submit intentionally is because a lot of people got a lot of issues with the word submit. And I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready getting ready to go teach for the day, that I started recognizing that I say I don't work, I serve. And this isn't, I've always seen myself in this light, like wanting to be a servant. But my mentality towards service has increased more and more. My desire to say, I serve in this area, I serve here, I serve there, not work. And the reason why I feel like I started making this shift is because I'm a servant to the people who are in front of me, whether I'm teaching and I'm coaching, I'm mentoring, I'm leading, I'm listening. I'm a servant to the person that is in front of me. And the reason why I'm starting to be that much more intentional with that verbiage is because it comes from a heart posture. And I want to be as rooted in the moment and with the people that I am as possible, because I'm in multiple different spaces. And because I'm in multiple different spaces, the realities of the folks that I'm with is drastically different. From youth who are incarcerated to youth who have their freedom, but also may be dealing with the same level of despair and lack of hope and lack of feeling like they have the ability to obtain the life that they want. And so the way that I approach both of these sets of youth, it has to be extremely different because their circumstances are different, but it has to be with the same amount of love and intention and care and fight. And so going back to submission and servanthood, I feel like serving is a submitting thing. Like, in order to serve, you have to submit. In order to serve somebody something, you have to submit to that person. And submitting is literally, think about it again, like from a teacher's perspective, is turning something into, I'm submitting this assignment. If you fill out an application, did you hit submit? Did you hit complete? Did you hit deliver? Right? So serving is delivering, submitting is delivering. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with submitting because they don't want to commit. They struggle with submitting because they don't have a heart posture of service, or feeling less than, like their ego will not allow them, because they have to be so defensive that they have to feel like if I do this thing and I take a smaller, perceivably smaller posture, it's going to make me look as if I am incapable. Notice I didn't say weak, but incapable. And I want to be somebody who is physically strong in stature, but exemplifies weakness. What I mean by that is there's nothing wrong with doing things that appear weak. And I feel like there needs to be a remix on servanthood and submission. Because if we're fighting for lives as a leader, as a teacher, as a coach, as a parent, as a mentor, like we're fighting for these lives. And you're going to have to be able to be patient and present enough to sit with these humans, to let them know that you really care and believe. And this is where the accountability comes in. So let me go backwards before I get to accountability. So service, submit, in discipline. I believe it takes discipline in order to be able to serve. I believe it takes discipline in order to be able to submit. And so when I get back and I'm thinking about this youth in his environment and how his environment shapes the way we see things as kids, with the way that we see love in our homes shapes the way that we view love is supposed to be. This is why entertainment is such a big deal in what you allow into you, what you allow into your brain and your mind and your body. What you allow in is a part of your environment, which shapes the way you see things. And so my heart broke for this young man in the moment, because he saw discipline only as something that was supposed to be used in destructive and harmful situations. He never saw discipline as a tool that he can use to become the person he was created to be. So my question to you is, do you see discipline as a tool that you can use in order to become the person you were created to be? Or do you only see discipline as a tool for enforcement, as a tool for breaking down, as a tool for punishment, as a tool for reconstruction or reinforcement? And so that's the first thought. That's the first piece of discipline, is we have to remix it. We have to see how we have to shift and analyze, how do we see this tool? Because if we don't see it in the right light, we won't be able to use it. Now, it's like if you see an object and you think the object is only for this, like a hammer. Hammer is a great example. If I see a hammer and I look at the back piece of that hammer and I'm like, I have no idea what that thing is for. You know, the back side of the hammer, that the V part looking thing. If I just think the hammer is only for hitting the nails, and I hit it and I hit the nail, and then the nail kind of gets that crick in it, and you're like, gosh darn it. And I don't know that the hammer also has the ability to pull out nails. Because I didn't know. Nobody in my environment ever told me that if you flip the hammer around, you can also use it to fix your mistakes. The same tool that you use to create the mistake can also be the same tool that you use in order to fix your mistakes. I got to pause for that one. The same tool that you used to create mistakes in your life can be the same tool that you use to help fix those mistakes. And then the next time that you do it, you're going to be more patient, you're going to be more conscious, you're going to be more intentional. And that's what we're talking about when it comes to discipline, right? Again, it comes back to how are you seeing things and having a full understanding of what this tool has the ability to do for you in your life. So the next piece is accountability. Discipline is a form of self-love, and accountability is a sign of belief. Discipline is a form of self-love, and accountability is a sign of belief. And the reason why I say accountability is a sign of belief is because when you help hold me accountable, it tells me that you believe I can achieve what I'm setting out to do. When you hold me accountable, it tells me that you believe that I can do what I'm setting out to do. I can do what you're challenging me to do when you hold me accountable. When we don't help people accountable, it gives them relief. When you hold me accountable, it gives me belief. When you don't hold me accountable, it gives me relief. Relief from being disciplined enough to show up for me, to show up for you, to become who I was created to be. And when I got this revelation today, it empowered me, because again, a second ago, I said, yes, as your coach, I need to submit more to being disciplined, because when I can submit more to being disciplined, I will then become a better person. But in order for me to be I need to submit to discipline, because it's not there to harm me or others. It's there to help me. I'm challenging you to submit to discipline because it's not there to harm you. It's there to help you. And if I can see it in that light, I will recognize that this tool isn't meant for harm. It's meant for good. And so accountability then, alongside discipline, is something I need to give myself, and I need others to be able to give me. When I can give myself accountability, I can hold myself accountable. That tells me I believe that I have the ability to do it. I just need help along the way. I need help being consistent. I need to be able to be reminded. And that's sometimes what accountability is. It's not always like, and again, I think this is another word too that has caught a bad or negative connotation to where people don't want to be held accountable. And I think because of the negative connotation accountability is picked up, we think that people don't want to be held accountable. But more times than not, people want to be held accountable. And people want to be held accountable because it's a sign of belief. When you check in on somebody consistently, when you follow up with them, with somebody about whatever the thought, hey, I remember you set that goal. How's that going? I remember you want to work out 5 times a week. I remember You said you want to drink more water. You want to spend more time with your kids. You want to spend less time on social. Whenever anybody shares something with you, I think that's a great sign for you to lock that into your memory and say, I'm going to help hold them accountable. Because, and it doesn't have to be as a basketball coach. We would have accountability partners on our team. So one of the players on the team, they would be accountability partners with the other. So they would set missions for the year, things they want to do, and then they would have accountability partners. They would sign a contract and they would meet with each other. I don't always think it needs to be that deep. Yeah, in a team, in a more confined, structured environment, yeah, absolutely. But I hold people accountable that I might see on a weekly basis in passing. So for instance, there is a security guard who works at one of the facilities that I serve at. And there was something, he was struggling with being able to do something. And I see him every week. And so are we friends? No. We're colleagues a little bit because we serve the same spot. And we probably have less than 10 minutes of conversation a week. But in one of our conversations, he shared something with me. I gave him a little bit of a tip on something that I think could add value to it. And then the next time I saw him, I followed up. Hey, how's that going? That's accountability. That's a sign of belief. That's also me showing him that I care. So when you hold me accountable, it tells me that you believe in me, and it also tells me that you care about me. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to say that again. When you hold me accountable, it tells me that you believe in me, and it also tells me you care about me. Accountability is caring. Accountability isn't something that's supposed to push us away from ourselves or others. Accountability is something that's supposed to pull us closer together, because I'm counting on you and you're counting on me, and I'm counting on you to help me count on me. It's a whole lot of counting going on, and the math needs to be mathing. So there's another guy who he confided in me. Again, he works in one of the spaces that I serve at. We don't have a lot. We have conversations a couple times a week. We're not really friends outside of this space, but he shared something with me. I said, okay, cool. I'm going to check in with you about that. The next week, I check on him. How's it going? Yep, I did this. I did that. I did that. Boom. Do you know what that does? That puts a deposit. I invested in him through a simple conversation of listening and following up. So accountability doesn't always have to be in a contractual agreement. Accountability could simply be listening and following up. But you know what has to happen? We have to be patient enough to really be in space with people. You have to be patient enough to really sit and talk and engage and validate and learn and ask questions, and then remember the next time you see them. And so accountability is a sign of belief, and a lack of accountability is a sign of relief. The reason why it's a sign of relief is because when I'm not held accountable, then I don't have to be disciplined. Then I don't feel the weight and challenge that discipline puts on me. Accountability adds weight. Accountability adds another sense of discipline. Accountability increases the call. Accountability means, oh my gosh, like I have to answer to something. I have to show up. I have to give an answer. I have to give an answer. And depending on who you are, you most likely want that answer to be the truth. So think about it this way. There are people that I know when I'm going to have a conversation, when I'm going to see them, I'm going to meet with them, whatever it may be, they're going to say, how are you? And I know they really mean it. I really value those people. I value all people, but let me say it this way. I really value conversations with those people. Why? Because I know when they ask me how I am, they really mean it. This makes me think. Another form of accountability could really be asking people, how are you? And them giving you the real answer. I'm holding you accountable when I'm asking that question for you to tell me how you're really doing. And I hate, and I know hate's a strong word because I really do hate it. I hate that we have taken how are you and transferred it we've taken hi and replaced it for how are you. Just say hi. You don't have to ask me how am I and keep walking past so I can say good. Like, I can't stand that. So now we have to go, how are you really? But then you have to follow up. And again, that follow up is in your behavior, which is a sign of accountability, which is a sign of belief, which is a sign of, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to you give me a response about how you're really doing. And so there are certain people that I know when they ask me how I'm doing, they really want to know. And they are holding me accountable for being able to check in with myself and to give them a real response. And that to me means the world, because they really want to know, which goes back to accountability is a form of care. It's showing me you care. You're following up. How are you doing on this? I had one person recently, a new friend, asked me, what does consistency look like for you? It's like, it's a good question. And I said, let me get back to you on that, because I really wanted to think about it. I took about a week. I saw her again. Hey, I'm just following up. Man, that means the world to me, because you're holding me accountable for a thought and a question that's going to add value to my life. And so I know that this conversation may be a couple different ways. And you're thinking, okay, Doc Rees, what are the mindsets? What are the habits here? What are the skills here that I can apply to my life in order for me to grow my confidence? The first one is, the first mindset shift is this. Mindset shift is not seeing discipline as only a form of punishment, but a form of correction in the direction that we want to go. I want to challenge you to see discipline as a form of correction in the direction that you want to go. Discipline is a form of self-love. And what it's doing is it's continually correcting us, right? There's certain cars, newer cars, when you're driving, as I am right now, you have the white lines. And in the new cars, they have this system that if your car gets close to the white lines or it hits the white line, the steering wheel will correct. It'll just go, let's get you back here. Let's get you back here. That is discipline. That is a form of accountability. And it's discipline because it's keeping me, it's correcting. If my wheel goes too far right, if my wheel goes too far left, the steering wheel is going to go, nope, let's get back on track. Let's stay in the middle. Nope, let's get back on track. It shakes. Let's get back on track. Discipline is that thing that says, nope, let's get back on track. And we've all, as drivers, have sometimes gone a little bit right, gone a little bit left. The same way we in life have gone a little bit right, we've gone a little bit left. The steering wheel is going to... The accountability is, we know this is the direction we want to go. We believe that this is the direction we want to go in, right? And so all the steering wheel is doing is keeping us accountable for being safe drivers. That's what it's doing. It's applying discipline, it's applying pressure, and it's applying accountability, which is the belief in, I believe that we can be safe drivers and we can go together. But think about this though. I said newer cars. Older cars didn't have this. Older cars didn't have the backup cameras there. Some cars have cameras all the way around them. Zakura's car got a camera. It's all over the place. So many cameras, I don't even know where to look. But what these have done is increased the accountability. What they've done is try to increase the safety, right? Try to increase all these they're add-ons. And the reason why I'm talking about that in this way when it comes to discipline and accountability is because accountability is an add-on. When somebody says, when they follow up, they ask how something is going, they say, I really want to be on this journey with you. I really want to help hold you accountable. It's a question I ask people all the time is, how can I hold you accountable? All I'm saying is I want to add to you. I want to add to your journey. I want to add to your process. I want to add because you're not in this alone. And accountability is a sign of belief because it tells me that I'm not doing this by myself. Accountability is a sign of belief and a sign of care, because when somebody else says, how is it going? It means you thought about me and what I'm going through in order for me to become the person that I'm trying to be. And you care enough about me to ask. You care enough about me to follow up. And I think those are things that we are missing in this world. Accountability does not have to be contractual. It just has to be consistent. And consistency doesn't mean every day. One of my homeboys texted me this morning. Yo, I'm proud of you. Keep doing you. Love you. Man, accountability. I love it. And it's accountability. And I got to pour and add back into him. It wasn't, he don't text me every day. We text on a weekly basis, every other week, but it's something that I know that it's an add-on. It gave me some gas. It empowered me up. It gave me some electricity. It added energy to me to say, yep, because I know he's also in the fight. And so accountability is keep moving in the direction that you're trying to go. I believe that you can go where you're trying to get. I care about you getting where it is that you're trying to go. I care about you getting where it is that you're trying to go. We need more people to care about other people getting where they're trying to go. How do you do that? You do it through accountability. Hold me accountable for being the woman I was created to be. Hold me accountable. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to call me in. Don't be afraid to call me out. Don't disrespect me, but don't be afraid to do it. Because when you hold me accountable, it tells me I believe that you have the ability to become the person you were created to be. And I want to live out this journey with you. And I want to make sure when you feel like you're going left, when you're going right, that I can help keep you on the path. So I'm challenging you to develop a mindset that says, I'm not going to see discipline as a form of punishment. I'm going to see discipline as a form of correction to help keep me going in the right direction. I'm not going to see accountability as somebody who is trying to, or a form of something that's trying to suppress who I'm trying to become or how I'm being. I'm not going to see accountability as somebody or accountability as something that is trying to stifle my growth, or trying to keep me from being cool, or somebody who's trying to, take away. Accountability is an add. It's just added value. And that's the mindset shift. The skill or the habit that we need to have is consistently checking in on ourselves and others. Yes, for our mental health, because I know that that's something that comes up a lot. Like, check on people. How are you doing? Really, from that state. Yeah. But not just their mental health, but their holistic health. Like, what and how can we check in on folks? Because as adults, a lot of times we don't be having a lot of things that we're aspiring for. What are you aspiring for in life? Like, what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to get after? And I get that that's not for everybody, but I always think there's an area of growth. There's always areas of growth, whether that's just in my peace, whether that's in my ability to rest, sleeping more, eating more, drinking more water, learning a new skill. I was listening to Kobe today, and he was just talking about valuing growth. We're always learning. And that's what made Kobe Kobe. The Mamba mentality wasn't just like something he applied to the court. Kobe applied that to life. Like, he valued growth and learning, and he was 100% okay with knowing what his strengths were and knowing what his weaknesses were, and was like, cool, this is for my partner. He's going to do that because he's amazing at this. I'm still learning and growing here. And I'm just going to be I'm a student of life. And I believe that when you develop a thirst and a hunger to be a student of life and of your life and the life of others, that allows you to become, again, submissive and servant to others, disciplined in the direction you want to go, and helping holding people accountable. So the habit is that. The habit is growing. The habit is valuing learning. The habit is staying like, how do I not get stagnant? How do I not get stale? How do I not be a snail? How do I not get stuck? How do I not cement? How do I continue to expand and grow and become the person continually? How do I push the boundaries? How do I push the border on becoming who I was created to be? How do I push up the ceiling? I'm still here. If I'm still here, there's more to get. If I'm still here, there's more to get. And this is why we talk about expanding our comfort zone. It's because we can keep expanding and keep expanding, and our talent levels can be expanded as well. How good do you want to be? How dope do you want to be at whatever it is that you do? There's no limit. And to know that there's no limit to me is like, man, I'm good. I'm solid, right? I'm an expert at what I do. I know that. But there's every single day I leave a classroom, I'm like, ooh, I can do that better. Every time I leave a speech, I'm like, ooh, I can do that better. Every time I end a podcast, I'm like, ooh, I can do that better. Every time I leave a video, I'm like, ooh, I can do this better. Every single time. Why? Because I want to be as dope as I can be. But I'm only going to be that through discipline and accountability. Because I can't acknowledge, I need to grow here, and then I never get back to it. I can't acknowledge and not re-knowledge. I can't acknowledge and then not acknowledge it again. Accountability is acknowledging what came up. That's another part to it. This is why accountability is a form of belief and care, is because if somebody acknowledges something to you that matters to them, that they care about in the direction that they want to go, and then you follow up and acknowledge it again, they're like, oh, okay. That gives belief is if you don't, when you don't believe somebody can do something, you don't ask them about it again. When you don't care about what somebody's got going on, you don't acknowledge it again. It doesn't get acknowledged. It doesn't get brought up. Or you do, but you do it in the like, hey, so how's that thing going for you? Because you don't believe. So it's not accountability. Now you're just being mean, right? You're being unkind. Because you might be picking on them for something, right? Obviously, there's a time and a place. But when you acknowledge what somebody else acknowledged, and you consistently acknowledge that thing and put awareness on it, the belief continues to build. The care continues to show. So the habit is that. The skill is being able to submit. Skill is submission. Submit to discipline and to submit to accountability. Now, when I first started this thought process, when I first started this episode, I told you I had a direction I wanted to go, but I wanted to leave room for the spirit or whatever to just move through me. Submit was not on my notes card at all. But submit is the skill. Submission is a skill. And the only way that we grow in being more disciplined and being more accountable to ourselves and to others is through submission. And here's why a lot of people struggle with discipline and accountability is because they struggle with submission. My goodness. If you struggle with discipline and accountability, you have a submission issue. That's really what it comes down to, is you have a submission issue. I have a submission issue sometimes. No lie. Why do people have submission issues? Because they have authority issues. Why do people have authority issues? Because somebody who was in authority at one time misused their position. So I don't blame a lot of folks for having authority issues, because somebody who was once in authority ruined that for them. I feel you. But now I'm talking about you taking accountability. Taking accountability. I'm talking about you taking accountability for your growth. You need to snatch back your need to be submissive. And submissive sounds weak. Submissive may appear weak. Submissive may appear soft and sound soft, but it's one of the hardest things to do. So you know what I'm going to connect submission to? Humility. Submission and humility go hand in hand. Humility is a heart posture. It's not thinking less of yourself. It's not downplaying you. It's Yes, it's thinking, there's an aspect of it of thinking more about others than yourself. It's also has, humility means low. Humility means rooted. Humility means I'm going to stay here close to the ground. I'm going to stay rooted in my position so I don't get swayed left or right. And people see humility as a weakness. So, I'm struggling with this word weakness, y'all, because I need to find another word. Let me say it this way: destructively weak, right? I like destructive and constructive. People see humility as destructively weak. I see humility as constructively confident, as constructive weakness. I think there's constructive weakness and destructive weakness, where me allowing myself to do something that is vulnerable, that is compassionate, that is something that's empathetic, that is something that is like, I kind of feel weak, but in the moments that I feel weakest, I often get up feeling stronger. In the moments that I feel weakest, I often get up feeling stronger. In the moments that, in my relationship, in my partnership, in my relationship with our son, my star, in my relationship with the people that I serve, I am going to have to take a step back. I'm going to have to submit and listen. So submission is a skill, because so many people do not want to become friends with their ego enough to say, it's okay, chill, chill, chill. You don't have to boss up here. You don't have to defend yourself here. You don't have to be the one that's always in charge. You don't have to lead from a place of aggression to where people only see discipline in a negative light. So now this brings me back full circle. The story I told about my youth who said he disciplines other people and his body language was big and it was aggressive. And he was like, nah, I discipline other people. He did that from a space that tells me this is how he has learned what discipline is. His environment told him discipline is when you put somebody in their place. Discipline is when you punish somebody. Discipline is when you make somebody feel some type of way about whatever it is. Discipline is demeaning. Discipline is not demeaning. Discipline has an invaluable amount of meaning. Discipline isn't demeaning. Discipline is meaningful. So when we think again about that piece, I want to go back to submission being a skill and saying we need to be able to say to our ego, you don't have to swell up here. We don't want to lead ourselves and be the type of authority that thinks that we can never submit to another person. And accountability is something that allows us that if I can learn to submit to me and be accountable to myself, I can also submit to others and be accountable to them. That is going to make me bigger. That's going to make me stronger. That's going to make me smarter, wiser, faster, braver, increase my performance. It just increase my confidence through and through. You cannot argue me off of this stance. Why? Why do I think something like submission and humility have gotten such bad raps and people make it seem as if they're things you don't want to do? Why? Because if I can get you to think that these are negative things, you won't do it, so you won't become it. That's really it. If I can get you to think that being submissive in access and humility don't have anything to do with confidence, then you will only lead from insecurity and cockiness. So, I got so much out of this today that I hope somebody else did as well. I hope that you leave this practice session feeling encouraged, feeling challenged, feeling like you have questions, feeling like you want to push back, feeling like you want to you want to wrestle. I hope that you have to wrestle with some of these thoughts. That's the whole point of practice. That's the whole point of challenge. That's the whole point of growth. As we know, confidence does not come without friction and challenge and frustration. And I just brought up some topics that a lot of people have a lot of frustration and some challenges and friction with. I'm talking about discipline, accountability, and submission. But I truly believe in order for us to be high performers in every area of our life, in order for us to truly live out our purpose with confidence, we have to submit to discipline, we have to submit to accountability, and we have to be able to be consistent and submit to humility. That's my argument. And obviously, the way that I see these things is reframed. So you can't just go off of what we've always gone off of when it comes to these specific definitions. And here's my last challenge to you is assess your environment. Your environment dictates how you see things. Your environment dictates how you view things. Is the environment that you've created in your mind, is it beneficial? Is the environment that you've created in your mind, is it one that helps you continue to go in the direction it is that you want to go? Is the environment that you've created in your house, in your space, in your car, in your office, around you, in your circle, in your village, is your environment conducive to the direction that you want to go? Does your environment have the verbiage in the understanding and the comprehension of that verbiage in alignment with where it is you want to go? I don't see submission as being a negative thing. Am I gonna? I don't even want to go too much further on that. But the way that I see things dictates how I treat things, because I cannot treat you better than I think about you. I cannot treat you better than I think about you. And so if I can think of these things through a specific light of value add that allows me to be a better person to myself and other people, that allows me a better leader, allows me to be a better mentor, a better advocate, a better servant, a better all these different things, then I want to be able to see this thing through that specific lens. So that's what I have for y'all today. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for riding with me. I hope that you got a lot out of this. If you got something out of this, please do me a favor. Drop something in the comments. Drop a challenge. Drop a question. Drop something that you're wrestling with. And then also send this to somebody else that you know needs to hear this message, needs to hear this practice, needs to adopt these skills, so that way we as a society, we as a village, we as a community can be our most confident, best selves. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I rock with y'all. I'm here for y'all. Until next time, Dr. Rees, peace.